Hey everybody, welcome to another action figure review, G.I.Joe Classified Edition. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Hiss Fire Team 788. This is kind of like a supplemental pack for the HasLab Hiss tank. Unlike the tank itself, this was not a HasLab offering. You could get this on Pulse. And I think Pulse was the only place you could get this. This was a Pulse exclusive. But this was like I said, supplemental pack to kind of flesh out your Hiss tank forces, especially if you bought multiple versions of the tank. Now, the tank itself has a crew compartment in the back. However, squeezing all three of these guys into the back, plus the Hiss tactician, I don't think that would be possible, at least not in a real logistical sense. You could, as action figures, you could probably kind of cram them in there or stack them in there or do something that wouldn't be like totally realistic if you were trying to portray these in a more realistic way. But they could just follow the tank, like walk behind it, and eventually they're going to release the SMS, the Sentry missile system, which comes with the Tele-Viper in the same colors as this team here. And that has a tow hitch that you can put onto the back of the Hiss. So you could have these three guys plus the Tele-Viper following after the Hiss and the towed SMS into battle or something like that. In any case, as you can see, we have another officer, another trooper, and another range viper, this time painted in red and black and with some grays. And a pretty cool color scheme, actually. I do like the blue. I think the blue looks really good, the Cobra blue. But this is a good paint swap, repaint deal. So let's take a look at the box. As you can see, it's the plastic-free packaging still at this point. And it's got the artwork on the front here. Fire Team 788, Hiss or Cobra logo. G.I.Joe Classified Series, Cobra Hiss down here to let you know that this is kind of like a supplemental pack to it. Cobra Hiss Officer, Range Viper, and Infantry. On the top, Semper Fidelis Serpens, just like on the Hiss tank. And it's even got a little graphic of the Hiss tank right there. Mark 1 GH7C. Don't know what that means, actually. We got some legalese on the bottom there. This is number 110. Yes, it is part of the numbering system. And then you have another piece of artwork with the Trooper Officer and Range Viper there. And then on the back, you have these, instead of a photo, which would have been nice, instead of a photo, you have this, like a, kind of like a blueprint type deal with the figures. They did the same thing with the three boxed figures that came with the tank. So that's probably why they did it this way instead of giving you a diorama shot like they did with the other plastic-free packaged figures. Of course, Cobra Commander being on the retro card didn't come with this on the back, so, but the other three figures did, the driver, the gunner, and the tactician. It also shows you everything that comes with and pretty much who it goes with. So like he gets these three guns and a knife, he gets all this stuff, and then he gets the rocket launcher and all that stuff. And then on the bottom you see all the different blast effects that are also included in this box. And you get more legalese. So we're going to take it with the infantry first. Oops, head just popped right off. Okay. So, as you can see, it's pretty much reuse of the blue infantry mold. Whether it's the trooper or the infantry, or the Cobra Island trooper or the infantry, doesn't really matter. They're both pretty much the same. It does have a different vest overlay than either the trooper or the infantry. I'm not sure whose vest this is. Probably Snake Eyes, judging by the grenade on the front, but don't quote me on that. Could be someone else's vest. But that is an overlay. It's removable if you wanted it to be. And this belt pouch here is, it looks like the overlay, the vest overlay is on top of it, but it's actually connected right at the bottom there. So it's actually attached to the vest. It's not a separate overlay. So that all comes off together if you wanted to remove it. And he has the wrist guards, which are glued on. And the shin guards also glued on. But it's a pretty good color scheme. You can see the detail, the texture of the shirt, the vest, the glossy paint on the shin guard, or the wrist guard and the shin guard and knee pads, and more of a matte look on the other blacks to make them stand out. He's got a black and red sculpt on his head. It's paint job, rather. And he has darker skin. So, than the officer. So as you can see, the officer has light skin, and the trooper has the darker skin. We got that black Cobra logo there. Nice looking pants. Nice texture on the boots. Overall decent looking figure. Let's go over articulation. He doesn't get a lot out of the, let's see. Let me pop the head real quick and see if I can't loosen up the, there we go. Loosen up that peg at the ball joint at the neck there. Give him a little bit more. He can bury his chin, as you can see. Now that I've loosened up that peg a bit. He can't go all the way back or else his head will pop off, but he can look all the way up. You can do Exorcist. He's got some tilt there. His arm can go all the way around. He can hinge up just about 90, maybe a little less. He does have butterfly joints, you can see there. Hope you get a little bit more range out of him. Bicep cut, double jointed pinned arms. These are the trooper molds after all. And he does have a horizontal wrist joint there and a vertical one here. One of the things I always have a problem with on Hasbro's, or at least classifieds, wrist joints is there's too much going on at the wrist, so you never really get much range out of the joint. They either need to put less stuff around the connection here, or they need to make the peg longer so you can actually use the up down, because it's hard to get the vertical hinge to really work, because there's not a lot of space, see. His hand hits the wrist almost immediately when you try to go down. Now, obviously, he doesn't have that problem with the horizontal wrist because the peg, the cut is different. The cut is right there at the front. He can't really go back too far, but he can go forward a little bit further. But on the vertical, it's just every time you try to go up and down, he hits the wrist. And I guess he does have a little bit of that problem with the other side as well. But it's frustrating sometimes when you're trying to get the the wrist to peg down when he's holding his gun or whatever. He does have, see, I checked under this before. He does have a ab crunch, but because of the vest overlay, you're not going to get a lot out of it. You can get about that much. And you can get about that much back. You can twist at the waist there. Got the drop down hips, so you can do the Van Damme splits. You can kick out about that far. And kick back about that far. He does have the thigh cut, upper thigh cut there. Double jointed pinned knees. Boot cut. Foot goes back about that far, forward that far. Rocker. And peg holes on the bottom. Accessories wise, he comes with this helmet. It's got the 788 on the side there. It's black and red paint design. It's a little red symbol on the front. Kind of a glossy-ish black. Not quite as glossy, I don't think, as the... Well, maybe it is. Yeah. It actually, honestly, it might look similar on the camera, but looking at it with my eyes off camera, I can tell you that the wrist and shin guards are definitely glossier. So, but it is definitely a glossier paint than the black on the arms. It's just not as glossy as the black on the wrists and the shins. But he can pop that helmet on there like that. He also comes with this backpack, and that's similar to the one that came with Bazooka, and you can also get it with the Snow Serpents. And he has 4 of these rockets, and you can slide into the backpack there. Also, just like Bazooka, I really wish they wouldn't reuse the same weapons for G.I. Joe and Cobra. It would be nice if there was some differences there, you know. I don't mind the reuse with weapons. I just wish it would stick with G.I. Joe and Cobra. Like, G.I. Joe can reuse the same weapons amongst themselves, and Cobra can use the same weapons amongst themselves. Where I start to have a problem is when they take G.I. Joe weapons and give them the Cobra. I think that's kind of stupid. So they should have developed an entirely different looking bazooka for the bad guys, aside from the one they gave to Bazooka, basically. And of course, speaking of, he comes with the bazooka. And of course, just like Bazooka's bazooka, it has this piece on the back that you can tilt up, slide the rocket in, tilt it back down again. It's mostly gray plastic with some red on the padding there on either side. And you can store it on the backpack in a similar manner to G.I. Joe bazooka. Actually, I think I got it upside down, or backwards, or whatever. I know there's a way that goes on here that it fits right. There we go. And then that just pegs into his back. Oh, wait, this is the wrong guy. That just pegs into his back. And they're using the same mold as the original Trooper. And I don't know if things have changed. Well, they probably have since they made the Trooper, but the peg for the backpack is a little small for the hole in the back. So it's, I mean, I guess it won't fall like right out, but it's not as easy to just pop right out, you know? This gun is actually designed to go with the officer, I think, but I give it to the Trooper because he can't just be running into battle with only a bazooka. What happens when he runs out of rockets? He needs something to fire. So I give him this as well. And this is an homage to the Cobra laser rifle from the Sunbow cartoon series. It's designed pretty much exactly the same. And it first came with the Valkyrie 2-pack set. Unfortunately, those guns were designed with the female figures in mind to wield them, so they're a little undersized in the male character's hands. It's not so egregious with the laser rifle here, but this is woefully undersized for male characters. It looks okay. I mean, even with a female character, it looks kind of small, but this gun is way too small for the male characters. It looks tiny. It looks like a toy in their hands, especially the snow serpents. This gun also comes with the snow serpents, and they're big, bulky figures. So this gun looks just utterly ridiculous in their hands. So yeah, I give him this gun because I don't want him holding the bazooka constantly. I like to give him alternate weapons as well. I think even in a regular military, you don't see a bazooka trooper going into battle with just the bazooka. They're usually carrying on their back, and they have their own separate gun as well. Alright, so moving on, we got the officer next. I could have gone with the range Viper, but I think I saved the best for last. I think he looks the coolest. So, same body as the trooper, exactly the same. For some reason, Hasbro is not reusing the officer mold that they created for the officer character. The original blue officer that they released had a completely different mold, but for the Tiger Force version of the officer and for this version of the officer, they're just reusing the trooper mold. And there's been questions as to why this is. Hasbro hadn't explained why they've done that. I think the most common excuse, or the most common reason that fans have given, is that they must have damaged or lost the mold for the officers. But so we get trooper molds now for the officers. So that's disappointing a little bit because the officer mold was really good. So as you can see, the only difference being they did change the boots out. But I don't think these are officers' boots. They might be. I could be wrong. They look like they might be. So yeah, these could be the officer's boots, but the rest of the mold is the trooper, including the wrist guards, as you can see. They did do the paint a little bit differently, as you can see, though. They gave him gray gloves instead of black ones, and he's got the red patterns on it with the Cobra logo. And of course, they painted the straps for his wrist guards gray, and they gave the wrist guard the red paint job as well. His knife sheath overlay here is red. His knee pads are red. And of course, his boots are gray instead of black. And he doesn't have the shin pads over top. And instead of a black Cobra logo with a red background, he's got a black background with a red Cobra logo. And he's got a gray face mask instead of a black one. And no red on his head sculpt. And as I showed before, he's a lighter skinned than the trooper. But he also had the different vest overlay than the trooper. And he has a separate waist. He has a separate belt as well. So he has 3 overlays, so the trooper's 1. He's got the knife sheath, the belt, and the vest. So, going over articulation, we can look down all the way. You can look all the way up. And exorcist, twist. Arms go all the way around. Hinge up about 90 degrees. He also has the butterfly joint there. Bicep cut. Double jointed pinned arms. And that's another problem with them losing the officer mold, because I can't remember for certain, because it's been a while since I looked at my officer, but I think the officers are pinless, legs and arms. So it's a shame that we don't have that mold anymore, because I don't know about you guys, but I definitely prefer pinless. He has got, he's got the wrist, the horizontal on the right hand, and the vertical on the left. Now, he doesn't have such a bulky vest like the Trooper, so you can get some crunch out of his ab crunch, and he does have an ab crunch because it's the same mold. He can go all the way back. You can twist a bit. He's got the Van Damme splits there with the drop-down legs. He can kick out about that high, kick back about that far. He does have a thigh cut, double jointed pinned legs, boot cut. Boot can hinge back that far, go forward about that far. He's got the rocker there, peg holes on the bottom. Yeah, get back into place. Now, some people have had issues with this guy with having loose legs or whatever. I was lucky I don't have that issue. So, but beware of that. I think the problem with that for some people is because in the box they have him like that with a plastic tie across the front, so that might have damaged the joints maybe. Don't take my word for it. I don't know anything much about toy construction, so. Accessory-wise, he also comes with a helmet. He's got the 788 on the side there. He's got the officer chevron on the front. Also black and red, just slightly different design than the Troopers. Goes right on his head there. He also comes with this pouch to hold his gun. And the main issue I have with this particular figure is he gets all the gear from the officer, from the blue officer, but he doesn't come with the blue officer's accessories, except for this pouch. But this pouch was designed for the AK-47 style gun that came with the original officer. It's not designed for this gun, which comes with that guy. Now, you can force it in there, but it's really tight because this gun is wider than the AK-47 because it's got that M203 grenade launcher on the bottom. You do have to you can take the clip out, the magazine, and you're going to have to in order to get the gun all the way in there, else it'll be sticking out in a weird way. Also, since this is the Trooper body and not the officer body, the pouch doesn't fit into the hole quite as easily. And because this doesn't come with the AK-47, you have the extra magazine clip and the slot for the laser sight on the AK-47 that are both basically useless because you don't have any accessories that go with them. And this magazine is a little too wide. Well, I guess you can, if you turn it upside down, you can get it in there, but it kind of sticks out a lot. Or you can kind of fit it into this one. So you can use it, but it's not, you're not using it for what it was basically designed for. So you can stick it in there. It's just, yeah, it's a pain to get it out again. If you put it in one, and it's too loose if you put it in the other. So it would have been better if they had given us the AK-47 instead of this thing. Because not only would that have fit in the belt they gave us, but it also wouldn't have looked so ridiculously small in his hands. As you can see, that's supposed to be an assault rifle, and it looks really tiny to him. So I don't really like that. He also comes with this sidearm, which is, I believe, the same type of sidearm as the HISS driver and gunner and tactician came. Unfortunately, again, they gave us the officer's belt, and this was designed for the gun that came with the officer. And the officer came with a gun that looked like the old World War II German Mauser gun, or World War I, one of the wars. So this does not fit very easily in this holster. You got to really push it down in there. And then it's not easy to get out again once you get it in there. So lastly, he comes with this knife. this really tiny little knife, which I think also came with the Valkyrie 2-pack. And again, the sheath they gave us was designed for the officer, the blue officer, and he had a different knife. As you can see, the sheath is much too big for this knife. And this knife just hardly, I mean, we're lucky it doesn't like fall out through gravity. If you put it in all the way, it at least has enough friction to stay in there. But still, I don't understand why they didn't just give us the officer's loadout instead of the Valkyrie's loadout, considering they gave us the officer's web gear and rifle sheath on the back. So that is my gripe with this particular figure. Lastly, we've got the Range Viper. And he is a pretty cool looking figure. I like the original version that they released earlier, along with Big Ben. I haven't reviewed him yet, but I will get to him. His blues really pop on that original figure, but the color scheme here looks pretty nice too. He's got the blacks and reds on his skull mask here. You can see the details better on the blue masks, though, so that's why another reason why I prefer that. It's kind of dark. Gray brain helmet, of course. Same vest, same pretty much everything. Got the same holster for his gun, same padding over here. Everything's just different color to the original version, though. His boots, he's got gray pants. He's got gray undersleeves here instead of black, like on the original figure. And of course, you can see the Semper Fidelis Serpens logo on his shoulder there. 788 over here on the other side. And underneath there, you can get the Cobra Hiss logo. He doesn't have an actual Cobra sigil on his body like the other twos did. The other two guys did. I mean, he's got that, but I mean like a bigger one on his chest like the other two did. Articulation-wise, he can bury his chin. You can look up about that far. You can do the Exorcist. He's got some tilt there. Arm goes all the way around. He's got the butterfly joint there. He can hinge up. I think I might need to apply some heat to his right joint here. And into the left one. I can't really get him up that high. That's about as far as it can go. Of course, that might be all he can do. Actually, yeah, it does look like it. Yeah, the joints are a little too big for the butterfly. As you can see, the shoulder kind of catches there at the butterfly, so that's about as much as you're going to get hinging up. He does have a bicep cut. He has double-jointed pinless arms because he is in the same mold as the Range Viper, and they use a newer sculpt. And he's got up-down on the right and side-side on the left. He has a ab crunch, but his vest gets in the way, so you can only get about that far forward, about that much back. You can twist. He's got those drop-down hips, but his thighs are a little bit thicker at the top than the officer and a trooper, so you can't do the Van Damme. You can kick out about that far, and kick back about that far. Got an upper thigh cut. Double-jointed pinless legs. You've got the boot cut. Foot can go back that far, forward that far. He's got the rocker and the foot pegs on the bottom. He comes with the most accessories, individual accessories. He's got this backpack, which is nicely painted. They painted all the individual bullets on the back and put a little red dot there in the middle, or in the bottom, middle bottom. Yeah, it's got some nice sculpt detail on it too as well. So you've got like a little keypad here and more keypad over here. And he's got this oxygen tank type thing on the top, which plugs into the back of his helmet here. Like so. He also comes with this pistol with an extended clip or magazine. All black plastic. Same as it came with the original figure. And that just slides right into his holster there. He comes with this red bandana. Similar to the one that the Vipers wear. That goes around his neck. He has this ammo bandolier. Which he can throw around his arm and shoulder. Actually, it's probably better to put that under the backpack instead of over it. The backpack can help hold it in. His hose came out of the back of his head. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. He's got that bandolier. And he has this sai. And this is normally all black plastic, but I painted it chrome with my chrome marker. Because I like to give the bladed weapons a little extra zing. And you can holster that into his sheath right there, as you can see. And this one is a little bit better than the one that came with the original figure, because the original figure kind of bent it. And he also comes with this hatchet. Again, this is all black plastic, but I painted the blades on it, top and bottom. And you can hook that onto his backpack at the notch right there. You can see that notch right there. You can hook it up. You can hook it right through the hole in the blade, so it hooks on there. He also comes with this grenade launcher type gun. Mine was a little warped out of the box, so I got to work on that at some point. And that can slide into his backpack on the bottom there. You just take the sight and slide it into the top of the hole there. And lastly, he comes with this automatic machine gun. We've got a removable ammo clip thing on there as well. So all in all, this is a pretty decent set. It does come with a bunch of blast effects. They're the same ones that came with the Viper 3-pack, as well as you get some blue laser effects to go with the laser gun. And you get a couple of rocket effects like the ones that came with scrap iron. So, pretty good set. I don't know if it's worth like the $80 that costs, but it goes well with the Hiss. So, like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you next time.